Hello everybody, the rework of the petition. The rework of the petition is a householder to confluence the technology. When you confluence the technology, the work of 8 par is 1 on time in relation to a cell, CELL. The division to comply itself is network 5 by the border, and in that time when you have a way in, it concludes itself into Buddhism. The element of design. Total. The work is Bay 5 in relation to the confluence. The confluence of the technology will be the A-win of Onono. The Onono is the position of the timer to sting itself into the Pei of Instagram. The Instagram technology will be the 1p, 1p, 5p, 6p, 1p on time, who will rule out the world of Mars. In this element of design, the confluence will have the technology for positioning itself into the data core. The data core by the position of the army will be the sector 3241, which is Jesus Christ in relation to the controller. In that time, if you work out the patakasha, the mentakana and the ananana is practicing to slow down the thoughts in thinking of thoughts, and in that way the conviction of the element will design strong. So in a Kei of Kei in relation to Jesus Christ, the magician will be equalizing the math of born in relation to the subject. Any subject in relation to the mihi of knowing how to control yourself into the math position of a timer, the inanna of technology will be pinned out in data core. The data core will be one in computer 1 and computer 2 in relation to compromising the issue. When you have the sun in the element of the CPU, Central Processing Unit, you will simplify the anana of Porono. So in a way of knowing how to low cut the tree of the element of design, you have the provision to diffuse itself into Sydney. In Sydney, the anana is died off in relation to the conclusion. In that way, the religion of 2451 is the anana of technology before it pin out into the complexity. The complexity of the network is 5-pole in relation to the control. The control is knowing how to share the dream of manifestation. Any manifestation is an equilibrium of sharing the alien. The controller is the one pin in relation to the cell holder. Each cell holder is a dependent of knowing how to cook on the better days of life to fund the element of design. The controller will be 3p, 3p, 5p, 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 the renown of proverb in relation to announcement. In that time, the third appointment will be in a tree house to share the dream of manifestation. Any manifestation of law, the equilibrium of the Feihe is a conversion to export in a certain degree of Gui in relation to Ko. Gao. Gui Gao. To. In the element of the design, the interment of technology will be the atata of technology before the age of on and the in of on. In that way, the perhaps of indeed will interfere the technology by the ruler to fund the element of the design and to control the method of trash. In the lana of technology, the position of this trash will be reminded in relation to the evolution of time by the condor. Any condor of a dream cut, you have the seiho of knowing how to control your unity of law. Bash. Inanna of technology and anana of technology. Looney Tune. In a way of the controller of the manifestation, the border by the fifth dimension is the element of design to actually relax after working mihi. When you work in mihi, the element of design will control itself into the unity of law. The adana of the green rock will be measured in relation to the menna. Menna is the element of design to control the unity of law by the position of a timer to pling itself into the dimension. Each dimension is a cutthroat in relation to paper rock, and in that time cutthroat in relation to paper rock is a hammer to know cutthroat paper rock. In that way, the conclusion of the adana of technology is paper cut, rock cut in the element of the design. The confunction of the adana of technology will position itself into data. Yes, data. In relation to data is the position of a timer to control itself into the manifestation. Each manifestation is the data of law based upon the alien and the diversity of mankind. If you have a cybertron of math 5 in relation to math 8, it is the fifth division to complex itself into a network of one by the border. In relation to the maximum number of alien, the diversity of mankind is a Kh of knowing how to sing. The Onslow, Mariah Carey. Having bags to make yourself a solution of rubbish, you will Instagram technology by the third position. Any third position of the anana of technology is is relaxing the mind power, and in that time it hear things in a way. But in the consumption of the pirusal, the reverse of the hammer will be the pepe of no, 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 no. In that way, the completion, completion. Practicing the vocabulary is very hard for Dr. T. Sandra to Instagram the technology because each technology will remind itself into the evolution of time by the border of 5C, 6C in relation to Jesus. But the magician will know how to control the mind game in relation to puzzling the Instagram of technology before it pin out into the data core. Each data core is the convention or conflict in relation to the MDOS. In relation to the MDOS, the Instagram of the MD5 is X1X1 by the Roche. Any Roche of the formula will upgrade itself into the evolution of time by Dr. T. Jesus. But in Dr. T. Jesus, the Instagram of technology will be reminded to control the unity of law with the position of a timer to sing a song and a ring best. Ring. The Instagram of a wishful thought is the Instagram of technology before it pin out into the door. Any door of this shape is the hemisphere of knowing how to do so, but the internal grid of the flame will be exporting into the maximum of Instagram technology. In so, relax of the mind game will visualize into the element, and in that time each element will fun in the dream of a shock. In that time, the brain capacity is a maximum of cell 8, CELL. In the Instagram of technology, it will position itself into the data core of technology before you have a way in. Nampak iskan antata is the language, but the inmata iskana atana it's a language of tita uskam anarana and kudu ana alarana, with a position of prana ana anarana. Relaxing the sentence of defrong will graft itself into the news reporter. When it does that, it will compromise the issue of the matter and to sing along a song of the way in. For the position of the timer, the confluence is NASA in relation to the hellholder. The democracy of law is the implementation of the mind game to visualize the inflow. Any inflow of technology, you have the way in of the mind game. And in the mind game of ABCFG19 is a cool graphic arts. In a way of knowing how the graphic arts work is an equation of quantum. But in quantum, the equation, it leaks itself, as in water leak. It leaks itself into the dimension. Any dimension of the element of the design will be P in relation to the camera. And in that time, in relation to the camera, the exporting degree will be menina. So, perhaps in a matter of time, the germ of 8p 5p for state trustee is an equation of aeon to map the position of physics and to send the signal through. When you send the signal through physics, it is the element of the condor to position itself into dar, D-A-R, the position of don't, D-O-N'-T, don't. In that way, the confluence of technology is the position of a time. So when it changes, it will equalize the material to math the 8-5. So in the way of knowing how to do so, the anana of technology will be insight of knowing how to control yourself into the matition. The matition is an equa in relation to the position of a timer, and to think that the mind puzzler is an equa of knowing aqua in eponym. The eponym is the element of the grill. Yes. It's still inaccurate to find those rocks, but those rocks are the element. But in time, the element will find itself into the synonym of the wind. So each wind is an equation of 5p, 6p, 1p, 496312, and 382434, which is the fifth division to complex itself into ABFG92 in relation to TB1313, and in that way it converts itself into TB1313, fifth division to complex itself into the element of design by Sun. SUN is an equation of E1, and in that way it turns itself into the door of heaven for Nemanam. So in a way of the Buddhism, the instrument of law is a confluence of law by the third grade. In the third grade of this mass is an equation of EQ53 in relation to the confluence. The confluence is the third technology for NASA to equal the anana. Mass. The equation for mass is an equation by the third element. Any third element of mass is an equation to sing a song. I've been there. Singing is an equation for mass. But in mass, the eplananam, the etatanam, and the anananam, and the etaninam, and the anananam is a way in to control the behavior. Any behavior is the tachkama of knowing that the mind power will equal the equation of mass by dividends. Yes, dividends. In dividends of knowing how to cut a throat is an equation for autopsy, but in autopsy, cutting the bread, cutting the dream is a third equation of mass in relation to known Venus. But within Venus, the equation of Venus being there is an equation of EBFG in relation to the controller. Any controller in the partition of law is an equation of 10C by the position of a timer, air. In the position of a timer, the equation of 9 Rilum is an equation of 10C by the Bishgong. The Bishgong is the element of the mind game to visualize the element of design and to control in the manifestation. Each manifestation is a law to know how to memming. E ten ma. The equation for the cell is a complementum, yes, of equation. But any equation is a tashkama of law. See, Mamachi? Is an equation of non-realm. And in that time you have a nanana. In the pratisakana of law is the pakanam. And when it changes, it equalizes the metata, magic, of Peshka. But in that time, the Tikalana is Alana.